hi guys, this is Louis, and welcome to our show number 5. Today we have a very good show. We're going to talk about the soul colors and their power ratings, and we're going to give some examples of some of the people that have these various soul colors. And we're also going to talk about our 2 special people that we found have very high level souls. We're going to talk about a very interesting and very powerful movie star, Keanu Reeves, and also we're going to talk about Oprah Winfrey. And we also have my co-host, Morgan. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. You're going to enjoy this show. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is one of our shows that we should have done like way back.
Yeah, they're very old readings, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, these have been like readings that we did like in 2015. So you're looking at 7 years ago. I mean, the things hasn't really changed. Like the soul colors, they don't really change because from what we know, if the soul color doesn't change, which means the person hasn't done anything, right? Like they haven't really awakened to who they are. They haven't done any energy work, right? So it hasn't changed because we recently just did these readings on Mr. Reeves and Mrs. Winfrey, and looks like their soul color hasn't changed.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about things that is going to be changing. We also have their negativity levels. We also found out where they're from, where the soul is originally from. So we're going to be telling you guys all that. But let's look over the previous program that we had about the fallen angels, right?
Yeah, and the demons.
And the demons. Just to reiterate, we want to let the people know from what we found out was that Satan spawned these demons. So basically, all these helpers that he has, they're actually not fallen angels, but actually demons that he created. And I'm thinking that he split his soul to create these demon beings. What do you think, Morgan?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because the more attuned dark energy workers, they say they get confused because they think Asmodeus, okay, he's a fallen angel, I'm going to work with him, which is a bad thing, obviously, but then they're like, I don't feel anything angelic. Well, there you go, this is why, because they're not fallen angels, they don't have that aspect to them. Whereas Lucifer was one of, I think he was the first angel, but he was the first fallen one as well.
Yeah.
So their followers are getting lied to.
Well, yeah, you got to consider that his negativity level is at 100%. So he couldn't have anybody that would be like really less than what he is, right? So by spawning these demons, right, that are like 90% negatively, not as full negativity as him, then he has full control, right? It's like
he's not dumb. He won't make someone stronger than him.
Well, I think he's very smart, and that he had the plan to do this all along, right?
Makes sense.
So that's what I wanted to tell you guys, that the demons were actually not fallen angels. They were actually created beings from Satan himself.
Yeah.
So just to keep everything in line, it is actually from him, from his soul, which is very, very dark.
Yes.
Definitely, you don't want to be on his bad side.
Stay away from him.
Stay with him, guys. Definitely stay away from him. You don't want to worship that guy. He's not going to give you anything. He's going to take everything that you have. Everything. So now let's go talk about our soul chart. So basically, 7 years ago, I had TJ help me do this soul chart, and it lists the soul colors, and there's like 11 levels. And the power level is from 10 to 0. And then we also listed some examples of some people that we found out had these various soul colors. So let's begin at the bottom of the chart. At the bottom, with the power rating of 0, the soul color is yellow. So basically, yellow means, as example, means it is a weak soul or decaying soul. And one of the samples that I can give was about 2 or 3 years ago when my mom was very, very sick. She gone through really horrible operation and it scarred her. Yeah, it scarred her. They actually had to do a heart valve bypass. And basically what it is, they had to cut her leg to get the vein. And you just see the cut on her leg just to get the vein. So that she can, it was, to me, it was horrific. It was very horrific. I never seen anything like that. They basically butchered her, right? And how could you walk afterwards with that cut on the back of your leg? I mean, come on. right? So I was very concerned. So I took TJ to see my mom, right? And that was before she was in this care home. She's in the care home now, but she was living by herself after my dad passed away, right? So she's living there alone by herself. So I took TJ because TJ was very concerned too. And I took TJ along because, as you know, TJ can see energy colors. He could even see soul colors, right? So to me back then, right, that was very amazing, right? So I brought him there, and so he checked up my mom, and he was saying, hey, she's got this yellow energy coming out. And I go, yellow, ain't that like a good color? And he say, no, yellow means it's decay, it's decaying tissue, right? And so I said to him, what can I do, right? I mean, come on, I'm the filter guy, right? So TJ said, well, remove her chakras. So right then, I kind of paused a bit because I still remember Amber saying, Lou, don't remove people's chakras, right? And I was like so dumbfounded. Why would I not do it? Because I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to save people's lives. And she go, no, you can't take their karma. That is theirs, right? So even it was my mom, I was kind of like, I had to pause and think, but then something inside me say, hey man, this is your mom. You're talking about your mother, right? You only have one mother, right? So I went right ahead and I put my hand on her. I mean, I could do it remotely too. That's how strong I am. But I wanted to be up close and personal, making sure, because TJ was there, right? So I put my hand on her head, and only took me just like a couple of minutes. I took all her chakras out, all in one swoop. And then TJ, I say, TJ, you go check. And right away he said, there's no decay. That fast. It was almost, I would say, almost instantaneous. That was before I got stronger.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that was like about 3 years ago. And that was during COVID time. Can you remember that? During COVID
that was a
time?
Horrible time.
Can you imagine that she also got to suffer through COVID, right? Basically, I relieved her from the pain, and my mom's still around. So that, I believe, is a supernatural power that I gained, that I acquired, but it wasn't easy. That took a lot of training. So there you go. So yellow, power rating 0, which means it's weak, decaying, and that decaying probably means dying. So anything that's decaying is serious.
Like illnesses, isn't it? Like if you're very ill, you can have that. Like chronic illness.
Yeah, see, that's why you really got to be able to do readings. Like if you go to an energy healer and if they don't have anybody in their group that can do readings, I mean, how good are they, right? But
they're just guessing.
They're just guessing, and we don't guess. That's why I either have TJ or somebody else do the reading, right? So let's continue. The next level up is white, and the power rating is 1. White means white soul, and the example is average. Average means most common. So most common readings from most of the people that I've done readings on before they had the chakra removal, like we would do readings now. I do it more often now because normally when the people come to me, they'll go, Lou, I want to go ahead with a chakra removal. Now I require them to do a first reading or a preliminary reading to find out how they're doing right now. And basically what I needed was to get the birth date, place of birth, and where they are now. So
I have to give that as well.
Yeah, that is required now because I find out we need to do a first scan just to see where they are. Like, are they DNA activated? Do they have no DNA activated? No DNA activated can be very serious problem, right? And basically means they have a lot of blockage from my experience. So then that might take a lot more time, right? And people think it's easy, just remove the chart. No, we have to do first readings. We have to do scans on any other trauma that they may have that could be like still blocking them, right? So basically, I want to remove those first. There's actually trauma that I call it like trauma blocks. And guess what? I didn't have that ability before, but I found out later I have the ability to remove traumas. And this might seem kind of like really out there, but I think I can even remove psychotic traumas where people.
Oh, wow, that's very
I just found that out a while back. I was helping somebody that had like suicidal thoughts and like that trust me, that's really hard to resolve. But I was able to look into the person's soul and basically took it out. Like even the person say, hey, what was the thing that you took out of me? Like right away he say, hey, the thing put on legs. And I go, put on legs? That's weird analogy. He said, yeah, put on legs, and it ran away. I go, okay.
Wow.
Okay, that's different. So I think that my ability is evolving, not only trauma, but, deep level trauma, genetic trauma, right? And that didn't come right away. That took time. But I think eventually my divine machinery, because I'm not from here, I'm from the heaven realm, right?
Yeah.
I think it's something that was always in me when it came down to it. It's kind of like a fail-safe. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like if I couldn't dig ditches as a living, I could be a very good energy healer. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could put me anywhere then, right? I didn't know I had that. It's just recently, I just like dig deeper, and then I find out some people have some really bad programming. Like suicide, I think it's one of the worst. I mean, how could you pull that out, right? But I pulled it out.
Yeah.
Because the person said it put on legs, it ran out. I go, okay, that's a weird analogy. That's the weirdest I heard so far, right? Yeah, so let's continue. So the next one up from White Soul is Blue Soul, and the power rating is actually 1. So it's not an upgrade from a White Soul, but it's slightly stronger White Soul. So basically, that's the example, and I will give you an example of one of the people that is a Blue Soul is Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
And do you know anything about Martin Luther King Jr., Morgan?
I know a tiny bit that he was a civil rights protester. He protested in America for civil rights, but unlike some people who are a bit more violent, like the Black Panthers, who were fighting for more rights to be given to black people because there was a lot of racism. Martin Luther King always did peaceful marches and he never resorted to violence, so maybe that's why his vibration was much higher. Because he went peacefully, and I know that the divine likes peaceful people.
Yeah, I kind of thought that maybe he would be like a higher level soul. But I think it's because of the time that he was in.
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't get a chance, right? Because that's not like a really super strong soul, but at least he made a significant change, which is very good, because we need to have more of these people now.
Yeah, brave people.
Well, yeah, it's, I think, about time that people really do the research and look into the important aspects of spirituality, right? I mean, look into the soul, basically. That's my hint to you guys. Look into the soul. Why is the soul so important, right?
Yes.
Let's continue. So the next one, right above the blue soul, is the blue-green soul. So blue-green soul. And their power rating is 2. And one of the samples, it says single chakra removed. So basically it means that they had one chakra that was removed. And one of the example of the people that had that was Confucius. And I don't know if you know anything about Confucius, Morgan.
Was he not a Chinese philosopher?
Yes, he was a Chinese philosopher and politician of they call it spring and autumn period, who is traditionally considered a paragon of the Chinese sages. So he is very important philosophers of the Chinese culture.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's very amazing. And I want to actually do another show on these other people, right? Like Confucius.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because the reason why I did this show was because I found out that the 2 people that we're going to talk about just right after this talk about this soul color is, Keanu Reeves and Oprah Winfield. They're actually not from here. Their soul is not originated from Earth.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and it's going to be shocking. The level next above blue-green soul is green soul, and the power rating of that is 3.
Yes.
Right? An example is, now this is very amazing, is that all chakras removed, right? And the 2 example is the Dalai Lama and Edgar Allan Casey.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know anything about Edgar Allan Casey, but I think he was also very psychic. Wasn't he the sleeping prophet?
I've never heard of him, so I couldn't say.
Oh, you haven't heard of him? Because he's like, he's American, and he's
his name
very well known. Yeah, he's very well known in the.
Is he like a New Age spiritualist or?
Yes, he definitely
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
So basically, he was around as they call it like a like faith healer. I think that's what they call him, like a faith healer. He would like go into his trances from what I remember, and he was able to give like remedies for like illnesses, which is just pretty darn incredible. I mean, TJ can do the same thing, but he doesn't have to go into kind of like a sleeping trance. Like he's wide awake. Like you can look at him, his eyes is wide open, and you can see he's connected. Like I think by telepathy.
Like you can do as well. Yeah.
Well, now here's the thing, not right now, but for what I know, like the blood journal, he does everything with his mind.
Wow.
Everything with his mind. And that's why I wanted somehow to have that connection from the future. And then, well, that's how TJ talks to him is with his mind. Like you never see him open his mouth. His mouth never opens. It's like a mind thing.
Wow.
I mean, people, I know it's hard for people to believe that, but it happened to me, my family, all the time. And people say, no such thing. If you've seen it, your jaw's going to drop on the ground and your eyes going to roll around and you might even faint. I'm telling you, happened to me all the time. So for me, it's like a 24-hour occurrence. So for some people that never seen that, their eyes going to pop out their head.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
So I'm letting you know some things you just won't believe. You have to see it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm letting you guys know it's all real. I make nothing up. And that will be my motto, my whatever, till the end of my days. I'm going to tell you, I don't lie. I don't make anything that is made up. I don't read stories and try to put it into what I do. I don't make stories. It's all real. Okay.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Well, see, the thing is, when I tell you where these two people come from in a little bit, you're going to go, no. But if you look at it closer, you're going to go, yeah. You see?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
Then it starts making sense. Everything starts making sense. And that's why I took the 10 years to do my research. And this thing is not even really new. It's like 7 years ago. And this chart you can find in my novel that I wrote 7 years ago. And believe it or not, I didn't write this novel, but teachers say it is your novel. All he did was just transcribe it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know it's hard to believe, but look, I have a novel. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things how it's something from nothing. It really is true, something from nothing. But as TJ said, eventually in the future, I would write it. So I don't know how this time thing works.
Paradox, it's confusing.
I don't understand it. Even I don't understand because look, I have a book that's in my hand right now. And I didn't write it in my time, but he just said that you will write it. And I go, that doesn't make sense to me, right? So you can see how my mind is still kind of trapped in this 3D way of thinking. I really need to get out of this 3D way of thinking, right?
It is hard, yeah. So
it is really hard because I still can't wrap around how I wrote that book, but I have the book. It's like I did no work. And Dee Dee was right. Dee Dee said, Lou, you did nothing, right? And I go, I did nothing. I'm being serious. It's almost like a gift to myself. But I'm telling you guys, I'm getting lots of gifts. Lots of gifts. And it's like, it's getting more and more. It's getting kind of outrageous. But you guys do nothing. You sit like a log. Of course, you're not going to have what we have. Right, Morgan?
Yeah, you need to have the energy to attract what you want, not just thinking about it.
There you go. Thinking about it almost.
See the full talk show on Facebook, Meta.